Hello, today I'm going to be making a battery holder for this battery on my MTD tractor. You can see the original holder doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to have to change things up. I'm going to need to make a little base that's 9 inches by 6.5 inches, it looks like. So I've got some scrap wood, but it's not straight on the side, so I go at it with my plane. I plane it down. Then I've got a straight side, so I can deal with that. I take my measurements. I take all my measurements at the same time. I may as well. Then I go and cut these measurements. I always use my thumb to start the cut with a fine-tooth saw. Ends up looking like this. It fits pretty nice. It fits pretty snug in there. So once the battery's on top, it won't pop out. I'm happy with that. Now I need to make the sides of the box, so I use the rest of this board, and I'm just going to take all my measurements and then cut little chunks. There it is, fitted just loose. Here's the loose pieces. I'm going to assemble them now, make a little box for my battery to sit in. So the first thing I need to do is join one side. Once I've got one side joined, I can kind of do a bit more and the assembly becomes easier. So I'm just using nails that I actually took from pallets that I broke down and then straightened. Since the nails were straightened, they don't always want to go into the wood so well, but if you work with them, it'll work out. So that's the one side on. Now I've got my little L, so I'm going to put my battery in there. I want to test that it actually fits. This is important to do at every stage, otherwise you might end up building something that doesn't fit. So I'm test fitting this battery probably 10 times over the course of making this. So I confirm that it does indeed fit, so now I'm going to attach the other side. I'm just going to nail it in with 2 nails. So now we're going to skip ahead to these end pieces. They're a nice tight fit. I kind of like it when things work out this way. So I'm going to ram it down. I'm going to adjust it, put the other one in. That's what it looks like with them both fitted kind of loose. Now I can slide my battery in, confirm it fits. That's perfect. I'm happy with that, so now I can go about. And I'm going to put another 2 nails per joint in here to secure these end pieces. That done, I can slide the battery in. It's now fully assembled. Final check. Yeah, it works well. So now I can put it in the unit, and now I need to figure out these retainers. So connecting this wooden box and the battery to the base is going to need the use of these long bolts. And those bolts are going to go through a piece of metal on top that I'm going to have to bend to fit the battery. So I'm cutting it here. Cut to length. Now I'm going to be putting in some Z-type shaped things. You might want to call it an S2. I mark for how wide the wing nut is, and then I'm going to bend it so that the wing nut has place to turn. So I clamp it in there. Now I'm measuring to make sure it's plumb. So my vise is horizontal. This piece of metal is vertical. So I know that any bend I put in it will be straight. I'm going to put in the bend by putting pressure on this piece of metal while pounding it near the base. I want this to be a 90-degree bend, so happily it's going to work out with the jaws of the vise. I hammer it to get a nice crisp 90-degree corner. Now I need to put in kind of a counter bend, so I'm marking where that'll be. I'm putting it in my vise. And then I'm going to be hitting it with my chisel to bend it over once I've got it where I want it. And this whole procedure, I do the same bends on the other side because there's going to be 2 screws retaining this whole battery container that I'm making. So you see that I couldn't fit a hammer in there, but now I can with it out of the way. So I'm going to finish things up with the hammer. And then the next step is to drill holes in it, as well as cover it with electrical tape so it's not going to conduct. That just proves that it fits. And that's what the finished product looks like. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.